Hello again, and welcome to Weegie Warrior's Eurovision Roundup. Tonight we're going to be discussing the Big Five Eurovision entries and, of course, the host of the event, Ukraine. I'll explain what that is in a bit, but as always, I'm guided by my resident Eurovision expert. Please welcome Ray Fordyce.
Hello, Ray. Welcome everyone. Ready to dive into some new Eurovision stuff?
Absolutely. Cool. Yep. So, like I said, we're going to focus on the Big Five countries and Ukraine are host. Ray, maybe give us a bit more background for those people who thought Lulu represented their country last year. Who are the Big Five?
Okay. So the Big Five are the five biggest contributors to the EBU, which is the broadcasting corporation that is responsible for Eurovision. So that is United Kingdom, Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. And also the host country get included in that. They're the five automatic qualifiers for the grand final plus the host country.
Right. So basically, the way it works is those five countries plus Ukraine, who are the hosts, even though the event's being staged in the UK, go straight to the grand final. So there's no need for them to qualify. And essentially, they're one of the 26 acts that make up the Eurovision Song Contest grand final, which this year, of course, is held on Saturday, the 13th May in Liverpool.
Hey. That was my terrible attempt at a Scouse accent.
Well, you just calm down there, Rick.
Oh, I know I can do better, but you know I can do that much better.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
For those of you who've not seen any of Mr. Fordyce's other works, he is a master of impressions.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. So, like I say, we've got the Big Five countries plus the Ukraine to go through. What we'll do is they're currently listed in alphabetical order. Now, the way it works for the final is the running order gets allocated once the 20 countries have qualified from semi-final 1 and semi-final 2. And that goes for France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. However, this year, the Ukraine and the United Kingdom already know which position they're going to be in. So the Ukraine will come on 19th and the UK will be 26th. So the UK will be singing the last song of the night.
Yep.
What do you think? Gives us a tactical advantage because we get the song done right before the voting, or are people that desperate to be at that point that they won't stay around for it?
It's tricky because running order. We like to think running order doesn't have an effect, but on the results. But sometimes I think it does. There's the infamous number 2 position, which no country who's ever performed in second position ever qualifies. Ever wins. Sorry.
That's interesting.
I think the highest they got was second place, ironically, and there's another one about, I think it's position number 11 as well. Nobody's ever won from performing then. I might be wrong. I'll need to double check that. I'll correct that on the next podcast. But yeah, the most lucky position seems to be about number 20 or 21. That's been the position where they've had the most success.
Okay.
So yeah, running order can affect, and also if you're before or after like a favorite to do well, then that can affect probably affect your chances less of getting a high score. So.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, running order can affect
slightly like the WWE Royal Rumble, but not really.
a little bit, yeah.
the only reason I said that is so we get a passing mention in the Ginger Media Limited's Roy's Ginger podcast, which is also available from the fine Ginger Media Limited brand. Anyway, let's crack on with the songs. Now, I think we've both got the sort of songs queued up for us to listen to in front of us. One thing I should say is obviously we had some sort of issues with sort of playing them in the background last time. So what we're going to try and do is mute it. So you'll see us reacting to the songs ourselves and sort of gauge reaction how good we think we are. But hopefully we won't violate any copyright, because at the end of the day, that's the copyright laws for you, and nobody wants that. So let's kick off with the first country alphabetically of the Big Five, which is France. Their artist this year is Lazara, and the song is Évidemment. So, Ray, tell us a bit about France's history in the Eurovision.
France, I believe, are one of the original countries that's from when Eurovision started back in 1956, and they have, I believe, won 5 times in that time. I'm trying to remember when their last win was. It was quite a while ago, but their most recent success was finishing second place in 2021. That was Barbara Pravi and Voila. And they can be generally a very hit or miss country, but mostly a hit country, because some of their entries, particularly in the last 13 years since I've been watching, have been absolute bangers. So yeah, hopefully they keep that up this year.
I think generally speaking, France is the only country that always seems to perform in their own language. I mean, I believe Euro rules are you can perform in any language you wish. Is that correct?
Yes. They've changed that rule a few times, but now it's just perform in whatever language you want. And France, 99% of the time they have performed in French, or they've been sort of bilingual, French and English. Although interesting, last year they performed in Breton, and last year, interesting fact, was the first time in the whole history of the contest that there wasn't a single French language song in the contest.
Well, there we go. Cool. All right, so we're going to give Lazara Évidemment a listen, and judging by your reactions, you'll probably see how good it is. So. Well, like you said, an absolute banger. That I like that. Evidently, or obviously, as I've just learned that's what that means in French.
Yeah, evidently, yep. Évidemment. I won't get in trouble for singing that, will
I? No, sure.
Yeah, okay, right.
Depends whether you call that singing or not. No, don't. No, too catty to start off with.
Murdering then.
No, but like I say, song itself, yeah, like you say, France always seem to put sort of quite good sort of bangers in the contest, and I do like it when. I do like it when they sort of modernise things a bit, so I generally quite like that. I think that could go the distance this year.
Yeah, I like that the woman performing, she's got a very sort of sultry, sassy style on stage. I mean, I'm going based on it's a music video, and obviously live performance can affect how well a song does as well. So if she brings that sultry style in the video to the stage, I think she's got a good chance of definitely scoring top 10.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yep.
Excellent. And I like the sort of modern beret, which is sort of a bit of a sort of big black circle on the side of her head.
Yeah, just like a little fascinator satellite dish. She's just trying to stream the lyrics through our brains.
Yeah, it's 2023. Berets have moved on somewhat.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. All right, let's move on to the second of the big five. This is Germany, and their artist is Lord. The artist is Lord of the Lost, and the song is called "Blood and Glitter." So, Ray, let us know, what do you think about? Give us some stats about the Germans in Eurovision.
Okay, so Germany. Interesting fact about Germany: they won the year I was born. Just thought I'd throw that little fact in there. They've their most recent success in 2010. That was Satellite by Lena. I like that one. They've had throughout the whole contest, they've had moderate success, but in the last decade, they've not really been very successful. Almost as bad as we have. In fact, in the last since 2016, they've fell in last place or in the bottom five about 5-6 times. So yeah, hopefully this one gets them back on at least onto the left hand side of the scoreboard, because there's a couple of times they were in last place and I don't think they deserved it, particularly last year.
Yeah, well, I did have a look at the sort of preview videos earlier on, and got to admit, kind of think this one's a little bit of a favourite of mine. So we're going to give ourselves a quick preview. So, and I'm going to go and get ready to rock. Oh, too old to do headbanging, honestly.
Yes, I know the exact feeling. Oh, my hair's all out of place.
Oh, no, that's great. It just, one thing it does is make me a little sad, the fact that, look, if you're going to go to all the trouble of getting a band that sounds like Rammstein to do Eurovision, just get Rammstein to represent Germany in Eurovision. I mean, come on.
I've heard of Rammstein. I haven't heard any of their songs, so I'm just going to nod and agree with you there. But this, I love it's hard rock, but it's camp hard rock. It does put me a bit in mind of Lordi from 2006.
Oh yes, the Finnish entry. Yeah, it's definitely got sort of shades of that. I mean, the Get Up, the lead singer's got very. I do like that. Yeah, I mean, again, I'd say rock songs have done quite well in Eurovision recently. Like Italy being one of the ones to remember.
Yeah, Måneskin, Zitti Buoni. But yeah, it's hard rock is always a risk in Eurovision because I think most Eurovision fans are more for like pop songs, but hard rock, when it's done right, it really does stick out. Classic case being Lordi and also Måneskin. I don't think this is going to do quite as well as those two, but I think it's got the potential to give Germany a better result than they've been getting for the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could definitely lift them off the bottom of the board, which I think they take as a win. But like you say, I think we will think it's a bit derivative of other sort of fine works. I think it's sort of Rammstein stable, and you think it's sort of more Lordi. But like I say,
But I think that's one that's probably going to do better with the public vote than the jury vote.
I would hope so.
Because I've seen a lot of the public like really singing its praises, but I'm just not sure if juries are going to like it as much. But I've got a feeling when it's on stage, it's going to be really camp and really outrageous. So I think that's what's going to make it stand out.
One for.
Yeah.
The third of the big five. And we're just sort of mentioning briefly there. It's Italy. This year they fielded Marco Mengioni, and they've got the song Due Vite.
So, hey, well done.
Ray, tell us about the Italians. Well, not bad, yeah.
So, the Italians, well, they're very sexy people. Sorry. Yeah, I've got a wee
I'm
soft
going to
spot.
constrain you specifically. I know it's unfair, but I'm going to constrain you specifically to be maybe talking about the Eurovision because
Ugh, such a buzzkill. Yeah. So yeah, Italy. Uh, really, really been doing really well in the last few years. Obviously, they had a big win in 2021. Before that, they've oh, excuse me a second. See you later. See you later. Sorry, just saying goodbye to
that's all.
Ali there. So, that was a talk. Yeah, Italy, really successful in the last few years. Had their big win, and before that, they were getting really high scores. They and finishing in the top 10 quite a lot. They also famously took a little break between I think 93 and 2011. So yeah, Italy are a pretty good country in terms of like good quality, and they use because they choose their song from a competition called San Remo.
Okay.
So it's like a big music festival. So there's like lots of like really serious musicians. So you can always expect really good quality from Italy.
Excellent.
And
Well,
this year, once you listen, hopefully should be no exception.
all right. Well, we'll give it a blast. So we'll just play up Mark and Wingoni Dewey. Mengiorni and Joy Vite.
Mm.
There we go. Oh, don't know what happened there. Disappeared for a bit.
Oh. A stranger that was so good, you just decided to cut off.
Yeah, well, it was swept away by that. Again, always like a bit of Italian music. I always like when they do it and they sort of make the effort to do it in their home language. So well, it's
Yeah,
appreciated. We like that.
yeah.
So, what do
Italy,
you think? Good old fashioned love song, I think.
yeah. See, for me, when it comes to ballads in Eurovision, they really like need to do a lot of work to stick out, and I think
Mm.
he's done it. And there's diehard Eurovision fans will recognise Marco from 10 years ago. He represented Italy with the song L'Essenziale, which did quite well, finished about seventh place. And I think, for me personally, I think this one, Due Vite, is much better.
Yeah, I generally don't know whether I like it more when you get a really strong power, like a powerful ballad that does well, or you get one of the more sort of esoteric songs that does well. I mean, I guess it just sort of depends on what kind of mood you're in when you watch your Eurovision Song Contest. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just one thing I did think about it just really reminded me of the end of school discos when I never got any
Oh, when
when I
you were the one
never
that
got
sort of
anybody to slow dance with me. So
yeah. When you were sort of sitting on the step going, na, na, na. Yeah.
yeah, for team school, I was sticking around the back seat, taking some.
Sorry, I missed all that. The internet went funny there.
Yeah, I think we had a bit of a.
I'll watch it in the edit.
There we go. Oh, come on there.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
I really
Andrew,
like.
cut that. Right.
But no, I really like that one. It's a big, huge step up from his last one, and when he performs it live, he really enunciates his word perfectly. So, um, yeah, I think Italy have got a good chance of getting another top five placement this year.
Excellent. I mean, I think
And
again, it's a strong song.
yeah,
Song will do quite well.
and I mentioned Germany doing well with the televotes. I think this one is probably going to score very high with the juries. I wouldn't be
Yes.
surprised if this might even be the jury winner.
Oh, of course, yeah, because you've probably got the more raw talent up. And remember,
Yeah,
because the Big Five and Ukraine go straight to the final this year. The finals completely the final the votes split half and half. So half of it is from the televote, which they do at the end, and then half of it comes from the juries of each country, who's part of the European Broadcasting Union. Is that right?
Yep. Yes.
Oh, got it in one. So very important to sort of distinguish, what's considered the best song and what's considered the best performance, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Might as well keep sort of might as well discuss that, given that we're halfway through our 6 songs tonight. So obviously, televoting's open to all the countries. What do you think of sort of obviously you've watched it since the sort of very early days when they just had juries and then they just had sort of televotes, and now we've got a combination of both. What do you think gives a more fair result, Ray? The sort of televote or the jury as a sort of accurate barometer of how good a song is in Eurovision?
I think it generally balances out with a split vote, because what you often get is, especially like in the semi-finals, you often get is people saying that you get songs that are what they call killed by the televotes or killed by the juries. So there's occasions where you get songs that are like more highly favored by one or the other, and then it shows in the final votes. But I think for like the final results, it generally balances out quite nicely.
I mean,
that's I think that's when you get the result that sort of more deserves to win, if you know what I mean. Not always, though.
That's true. This is why I never make it as an interviewer. I always interrupt people.
Yeah, I'm just as bad, sorry, but I've got ADHD. So.
That's fine. The one thing I'm worried about, the one thing that I've noticed in recent years is because what they do now is they always used to make a big thing of doing the points from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 8, 10, 12.
Yep.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. You don't do 9 or 11. And when I used to watch it, obviously, you just got the 1 to 8, 10, 12 from each country.
Yeah.
And that sort of formed part of. Now, what they do, because they've got the split vote, is you get the jury's votes and they show the 1 to 8 on the screen. They don't read through it, and then they show who got the sort of big points from each televote nation. Then, which is sort of the cruelest part of it, is they do the televote all at once. So they top up all the points, and then they sort of go from the person who's right at the bottom of the country's right at the bottom of the table, and they tell you how many votes they got. So there's at least 8 or 9 countries that are never going to get a vote from anybody. They just got to sit there and go, ugh.
Yeah, particularly in the last couple of years, because they've done it that way and they sort of zoom to the contestant, and then when the person says, "Oh, so X country, you have got 3 points," and then they kind of have to react, kind of like, "Oh well," but I mean, some of them do take it on the chin, like in 2021 when our entry, James Newman, like got no points. He just like, yeah, whatever, come on, yeah.
I remember that. It was just with a beer and a song.
Yeah, he totally took it on the chin. And then you get a couple of people. There was quite a sad incident last year when the Swiss guy got no points from the televotes, and he just looked totally broken. And I think there was
I mean, it's obviously a bit demoralising if you haven't got much points the entire night and you know you're never going to win. It's even worse when, as you say, the sort of, the jury's going to give you a good score, but then the televoting absolutely crushes you, because like when they get to about 5 or 6 from the top, there's always sort of one act that's got about 80 points less than everyone thought they were going to get, and they're just I've seen them and they've just looked up and like shocked that most of the Euro people, no, I didn't like that. Sorry, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that happened to Australia last year. Because he got the guy from Australia last year got quite a lot of points from the juries, but then when they announced the phone votes, he only got 2 points from them,
Mm.
and he was kind of a bit sad. But everyone just instead just cheered him, and so it's nice that the Eurovision, like
Oh yeah,
all the other
100%.
delegates, are really supportive of the other acts.
Mm.
And just there, going back to the Swiss guy, there was a clip emerged where our guy Sam Ryder went after he got announced with no points. He just went over and gave him a big, huge hug. That was really sweet of him.
Well, Sam,
But
he's a nice fella.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard lots and lots of nice things about him. So
Right. Well, tell you what, let's move on to Spain. This year, their artist is Blanca Paloma,
mhm.
and the song is oh hell,
It
yeah,
sounds like
yeah,
it's called. It sounds like a Spanish old McDonald, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yes. Well, just AIA
yeah,
is how
yeah.
you
Spelled
pronounce it.
it's
Yeah,
spelled
but
yeah, but I'm going to go for
yeah,
that.
but I
So
just yeah, it would be funny if it was the Spanish old McDonald, which would be Vieji McDonald tuve una granja. AIA. Oh, yeah, just showing off my Spanish skills there. I've been anyway. Sorry, I'm.
no, I'm trying to come up with now. EA Sports. It's in the game. There we go.
I know you're really going to get us in trouble for copyright.
Oh yeah. Well, will have to be cut out. Anyway, sorry. We'll do a clean version. So
Right.
Spain. Tell
Yeah.
us, Ray, how Spain
Right.
fared
Spain.
in Eurovision past.
Okay, Spain. Um, Overall, haven't been the most successful country. The last win was when they had a joint win in 1969 with three other countries, which was us, the Netherlands, and France, I think it was. So they've been waiting for a good 50 or so
Wow.
years for another win. And they came really close last year with Chanel Slow Mo, uh, which was an absolute banger, by the way. Um, but yeah, I think that their entry last year really sort of gave them a big kick up the arse because they absolutely stormed it. They got really good scores from both the juries and the televotes last year. So I think they now feel like they're back in the game now.
Ooh. Okay, well, let's give it a quick blast. So, yeah.
What do you think of that one then?
Kind of made me want to get some tapas in.
Yeah, not that you're playing to Spanish stereotypes or anything like that.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with the fact I just saw a video for a load of people who appeared to be flamenco dancing in it. Just saying, like,
yeah,
no, but yeah, I'm not playing to stereotype, but it generally does sound like something that you play in the background of a tapas bar when you're on your
yeah,
sixth little bowl.
yeah,
Don't judge me, right?
yeah. Do you know? It's funny. I don't think I've ever been so on the fence about an entry as I have about this one.
Well,
I think there's things I like about it. I like that she's got good vocal power. She really knows. I've seen her live performance. There was a lot of like impressive visuals on that, but there is something about the song that feels a bit messy. But I've listened to it a few times and I'm warming to it. And
I
it's
mean, I'm the opposite. I was sort of waiting for it to kind of get going a bit, and it never seemed to sort of drop for me. I would have
yeah,
said.
but yeah, there's some sources saying that she's tipped to do quite well. I think it's one of those that's probably going to be very. It's going to be
I think
determined.
it'll polarize people. There's quite a lot of. I
Yeah,
think there's quite a lot of call for that kind of song in sort of Southern Europe. I would have said.
yeah, but I think
Maybe
yeah, I
not so
think it's
much in the north. So I think it might just sort of split. It might sort of divide the line. I don't think like the Finnish countries would go for it. I don't think we go for it. But
yeah.
you know, I
I
think
think
like
it's
sort of the neighbours would probably quite enjoy that sort of music.
yeah, I think it's one of those that's probably going to be quite reliant on like how well it's staged to see if it's going to
That's
do
true.
very well. So I'm very undecided about it, and I've listened to it a few times. I'm undecided, but growing more to. I can see why it's tipped to do well.
Right. We'll put that down as I don't know for now, shall we?
Yeah,
Cool.
a big don't know. Yeah.
Right. All right. We'll move on to. I think we'll go alphabetical order. So I think we'll actually talk about the Ukraine's entry next. Ray, tell us about the Ukraine in Eurovision. Obviously, our
Uh,
hosts because they won last year, but tell us about
yeah. So they've been pretty strong. They've won 3 times. They're I forgot. So bad. I forgot when their debut was. But since their debut, which wasn't compared to other countries, wasn't that long ago, and they've won 3 times. And last year they broke the record for the most for the biggest televoting score ever, 436 points they got altogether, which technically means they got like the lowest points they got from one country was 8 points.
Wow.
Yeah, so although speculate there's probably a lot of sympathy votes, but anyway, so
Well,
that's my own critique. But they've brought out some of my favorite songs in Eurovision. Um, even a couple that were unfortunately had to be pulled because of political issues. Because there's rules that Ukrainian entries can't perform if they have previously performed in Russia. So um, yeah, there's like a lot of pressure on people wanting to participate for Ukraine to like basically never like not have even like looked at a map of Russia basically.
well,
Yeah, because I mean I can't blame, but yeah, it's
absolutely.
not. I mean they say every year no politics shouldn't come into Eurovision, but I think given what's going on in the Ukraine just now, that's one of those that's kind of unavoidable just now. But anyways,
Let's focus our attention on Sporty and Heart of Steel. Wow. Again, I've got to say, I quite like that. That sort of
yeah,
grew on me.
yeah, that one it sticks out a bit because there's not really many other songs in Eurovision that have got that style.
No, that's true.
So um, and um, sympathy votes aside, I think this one might still do quite well for Ukraine.
Yeah, I'd say.
Um,
Obviously, last year the song was more traditional, and that was for
yeah,
the one that won 2022, and that was fair enough. But I think they definitely, the proof that they're not just going to fall back on tradition like sort of some other nations. That's it's sort of good. It's got up to date. It's got quite a good beat.
yeah,
Got to admit, I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
yeah. And there's a lot. They sing one of the verses in Ukrainian, which is good.
That sounds good.
Um, so I'll be honest. If this was okay with them winning, if that sounds like a fair point to make.
Yep. I think you cut out a little bit there, Ray. So
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just said if this was representing them last year and they won, I'd have been more okay with that song
Yeah,
winning
I
for
think
them
that's a
last
fair
year
point.
than
Yeah,
that's
I
just
think.
my own little gripe though.
Okay, yeah, I can see what you're saying there. Like, say, if it was sort of, you can tell they put the time and effort in because I think
Yeah,
maybe they were sort of thinking, all right, people are going to be looking at the Ukraine entry this year, thinking, oh, right, did they just get through on the sort of pay per view, or can they actually produce a good song? And I'm going to say it, that's a good song. I would listen to
yeah,
that very happily.
yeah,
Cool. All right. We'll move on to our final track we've got today, and it's back to good old Home Sweet Home as we've got the United Kingdom and
yeah,
our singer Mae Muller and the song I Wrote a Song. So, Ray, tell us about the UK in
yeah,
Eurovision. How have we fared?
yeah. So, you wouldn't think about our recent history, but we're actually one of the more successful countries in Eurovision. We have won 5 times, but we have the record of finishing runner-up the most times. As of last year, we've finished runner-up 16 times. So that's pretty good going. Obviously, and since 2000, we've not been very successful. Twice we've ended up with 0 points, with famously, first of all, with Gemini, and then with James Newman, although, to be honest, James Newman probably deserved the 0 points less than Gemini did.
Right.
Yeah, I think, but it was a
He was the
shame,
first
but he
person
took it
to
on the
get
chin.
technically a double zero because he was the first person
Yeah,
to get zero from televoting and from the jury. So
yeah,
it seemed
and
a bit
yeah,
unfair.
yeah. I thought it was unfair, but like I say, he took it on the chin.
Mhm.
And then I think that must have like given us a wake up call because the following year we came second, Sam
Mhm.
Ryder and Spaceman. Yeah, it was an amazing effort. So
Right.
we're hopefully we've got the Eurovision bug back and we'll start doing well again.
And of course, okay. And of course, we're staging the contest this year, so we've got home
Absolutely, yeah.
advantage, which always does factor into a tiny little bit.
hmm So yeah,
Okay,
let's
right.
have a listen.
We're going to listen to Mae Muller. I Wrote a Song. Here we go. Right. Oh, got to admit, I'm struggling with some of them lyrics.
Yeah.
Instead, I wrote a
Um,
song about how you did me wrong. Oh God, really? Yeah,
yeah. I'm guessing
I'm
not a
not
fan.
sure about that one.
Yeah.
I am not sure about that one. Give me a lot of gives me a lot of hints of Lily Allen, I think, as well.
Yeah. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's amazing.
No,
It's sort of
no.
it's very middle ground, middle to high for me. Um, I think um,
It's
that's
sort
another
of the
one that
thing they
might.
can't do playing local radio stations all the time. I find
Yeah,
I'm only basing that on the fact that it was at a gig last night and they got a 11 p.m. bus home and it was blasting out the radio in Clyde One. So.
um, I think it's one of those. She'll probably need to do quite well on stage to sort of boost it. I mean, she's got good choreo in the videos, so if she can sort of translate that onto a good stage,
Yeah.
then
One thing I will say is the video is very well sort of choreographed. If she can translate that to stage, I think we'll probably get a few votes. But
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
seeing a lot better in the sort of some of the other semi-finals. So songs that are in the semi-finals, so she'll have a work cut out for her, I would say.
yeah, yeah. She's got a lot of like tough. Well, everyone's got a lot of tough competition this year. Because I think there's about at least 2 or 3 that are like tipped to do like really high, and everyone else is kind of yeah, whatever.
Well,
It does feel like that kind of a year.
But like you say, home field advantage is always important, not just in
Mm.
sort of sport, but also in stuff like this. So you never know. You never know the minute.
Yep.
Cool. All right, Ray. Well, that is our roundup of the Big Five and Ukraine too.
Yep.
Thank you once again, Ray, for keeping us right with the Eurovision facts.
Uh-huh.
Pleasure to have you on board as always.
Yep.
Again, we're doing this for the Weegie Warrior, which is part of Ginger Media Limited, which has a lot of fine podcasts available. Check Ginger Media Limited's pages for more information. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ginger Ale Comedy, all one word. Ray, you are
Amazing.
I was expecting to see your Twitter handle, so maybe.
Oh yeah, Twitter handle at Fordyce. And one day, once I can stop procrastinating, maybe I will join the podcast circuit as well.
Well, love to have you
And
on.
then I could plug that for next year's Eurovision.
I'll see if we can get you on for a Euro board game session on the Ginger Games board, which I do with my partner Debbie. So,
Oh yeah. Oh, we get to play Cluedo in Spanish.
oh, love that. That sounds really good. Cool. All right. So we'll be doing sort of more podcasts leading up to the big day, but keep tuned to the Weegie Warrior for more, and we shall see you next time.
See you next time for semi-final 2.
Yeah.
Ciao, mean.
Ciao, Bella.